a nice ring.
A new friend of yours?
I'm not so sure.
I'm just here to unmask the truth about this cesspool we call a city. You're part of this too.
Hands up! Stay still!
How am I a part of this?
Oh, you're really not as smart as I thought you were. Bruce Wayne.
That encounter kind of like the emotional heart of the movie, and how easy was it to find that kind of chemistry?
I mean, luckily I've known Zoe for about 10 or 11 years. So I think even on the screen test, her screen test, I was still thinking I could get fired at any moment. But just knowing that, you know, she's not going to judge me too harshly, like as I figure out the character, was kind of a relief. That helped.
Hi, how's it going? I love your suit, by the way. This jacket's amazing. Obviously, you're back again with Matt Reeves and Dylan Clark. Is it kind of like an easy partnership to slip back into now? Does it feel like coming home?
These are my brothers.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we've spent a lot of time together over. I mean, Dylan, we go back over 3 movies, Matt over 2, and when they asked me to be in it, I was just like, come on, of course.
What was it about kind of Matt's vision of like Gotham and that kind of grabbed you from the get-go?
It's because I know the way that Matt works is he's so forensic in his detail, and I knew that he wanted to create a Gotham that was tangible, believable, that felt real, and that something we could all recognise, but at the same time have a mythic nature to it, because that's a sweet spot for him. It's bringing kind of reality and making it plus, you know, and the relationships too. He always searches for the heart, the emotional heart of a movie. It's not about being spectacular. It's about really telling a story that is gripping and emotionally, fulfilling. So
I mean, Dylan mentioned kind of working on apes and kind of combining those two worlds. You know, like shooting outside but having the mocap stuff. And was that kind of that partnership of the big and the small kind of?
Yeah. So it's always about the intimate moments. You know, I mean. That's exactly right. With Matt, he searches for. It doesn't matter how big you're going scale-wise, what size of helicopter shots or wide shots or the CG effects. You know, if you've not got the heart of the movie there, and you're moving an audience and telling a story that is gripping them, which this does, then you're going to lose them. You're going to lose them.
And then finally, was there kind of one pinch me moment where you were like, oh fuck, I'm on the set of a Batman movie? You know, was seeing Robin the Cowl? What was the thing that kind of made you?
No, it was it was literally my first scene and the first take of, when you commit to any character, the first time that you hear action, it was coming down in the elevator and stepping out as Alfred. It's you kind of go. Here we go, it's a big mountain to climb,
Totally. Hi there, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, not bad, a bit cold, but
Yeah.
So the costume, the outfit is kind of visually very striking, and I was wondering whether, when you kind of put it on for the first time, when you're performing in it, whether that changed your kind of how you embodied the role, how you were.
Sure, yeah. We worked on the costume quite a bit, and the mask in particular is a big part of the performance, and it sort of allows that person, that character, to become some other part of himself, and it allowed me as an actor to let something out that I may not have been able to without it. So
was that like a surprise when you put it on? Did you kind of like, oh, this is it, kind of unlocked another element of the performance, or did you kind of go in?
I worked with it quite a bit, so it wasn't just but yes, it had the costume is a big part of the vibration. So I grew to love it. It was a challenge at first, but yeah.
And then also, I was wondering whether there was any particular kind of like pinch me moment that kind of struck you on set. Whether there was a moment when you were kind of like, oh my god, I'm in a Batman movie. Oh my god, there's Batman.
Yeah, there were a few, but there was a couple night shoots on the back lot that they built, which is so extraordinary, with the L train and the diner and the club, and seeing Batman out the window and that coffee cup, and
pretty special, surreal.
Yeah.
Hi there, how's it going?
How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. So off the bat, I just wanted to get your take on how Matt Reeves' vision of Batman and Gotham kind of differs from other versions people might have seen on screen.
I'm sorry, say again?
So how does Matt Reeves' kind of vision of Batman and of Gotham differ from other versions people might see on screen?
Well, it differs in that this film is a film for now, for this moment. And since 1939, the beginnings of the comics, the stories have been placed in their times. So Matt is really very considered in how our Gotham reflects the present day. He wanted to make a film that had all the spectacle and all the dynamism that you would expect with a Batman film, but was also psychological and emotional and relevant socially. The thing that differentiates the Batman from most superheroes is he lives in what is fashioned after a mega American city. And so that comes with a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun territory for a writer. But if you want to do it in an authentic way, there's all manner of social and even political tensions and cross currents that are built into it. And Matt has done that really beautifully. So our film is only hoping to be a continuation of the evolution of Batman, and to do that in a way that's cognizant of where we are now, where Gotham is now, and to make a Batman for our moment, for today.
It's a film for 2022.
That's 100%.
And just finally, I was wondering, kind of, were there any particularly surreal moments on set, like when you're with the Batmobile, or when you see kind of Rob in the cowl and the suit, that kind of stand out to you?
Yeah, when the Batmobile rolled on set the first day, I was distracted, working on myself. Wait, where is that thing?
And I guess it comes as a surprise, right? You don't know what it's going to look like until it's kind of.
Well, no, it was described in the script very specifically. And for me, that was a really exciting bit to read. Because I'm a fan of the Batmobile, yes, but also because the aesthetic described as this, super jacked up, old school American muscle car that would have been crafted by Bruce Wayne down in the Batcave with his own tools and hands, was to me reflective of a larger vision for Gotham that was authentic and tangible and realistic in a way that maybe we haven't seen before. So yeah, I was stoked to see that thing. Although Gordon's Ford, that Prowler, it's got a certain
weight to it.
It's got a certain thing on its own,
You're on the tape.
I can get to you. Hi, how's it going?
It's good. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. So we just spoke to Dylan about kind of the importance of this Batman thing position as sort of this year two kind of node, and giving him an arc, which is something that we don't often see in kind of one and done Batman stories. Obviously, how important that was kind of for your vision of giving him that arc.
Well, that was the whole thing. I mean, for me, what I knew we couldn't do is we couldn't do an origin tale, because that had been done super well many times before. But I didn't want him to be a Batman who didn't have room to evolve, who didn't have a place to go, and I wanted to make sure. That's when the idea of doing it in the early years came about, because I thought, in this idea of acting out of vengeance, that this movie could then be an awakening for him, where the course of him being engaged in this kind of terrifying serial killer mystery, this conspiracy that rips all the way through Gotham, that it would cause him to evolve and have to force him to become a better Batman. And so that was important. I wanted to make sure that Batman was at the center of our Batman movie.
Thank you. And also, just off the top of my head, I was wondering, kind of, were there any experiences you took from the world building and the franchise building you did with the 8th trilogy, and that you kind of found applicable to this process?
Sure. I mean, I think the idea, for me, what I try to do is I try to take the elements that sort of are the big iconic mythic aspects and let those be what they are, and then try and find a way to take the world of those films and make them like our world. So there was a very conscious effort. Here's the thing that's very special about a Batman movie is you get to do something about Gotham, and Gotham is a great opportunity to put a lens really on the world that we're in. And I think making sure that for all of the noir and iconic things that this character and that this movie is, that it also is a world that the audience can relate to. That's really important.
And building the margins, right, and kind of flesh out those aspects.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So firstly, broadly, in your mind, what sets Matt Reeves' version, your version of the Batman, apart from kind of other ones that audience is familiar with?
I think that year two Batman is everything. I think seeing this Batman trying to figure out how to be Batman, really being this vigilante known as Vengeance, and then having to come to terms with where he fits into society, because ultimately Batman is about providing hope for people, and this is a character journey where he has to learn that.
Oh, brilliant. So obviously Robert as Batman, inspired choice. Outside of that, what was the most sort of challenging aspect of casting the other roles, or who was the most kind of challenging role?
There was no. When Matt wrote this script, he just kept coming to me, going, "I'm picturing this person. Wouldn't it be cool if this person?" So Paul Dano was clearly in his head. Jeffrey Wright just felt like a great Gordon to us, but Zoe, just when you see Zoe, she just looks like Selena Kyle. Certainly out of Frank Miller's Year One, she has that short hairstyle. So, and then we just love what Colin Farrell was doing, but we weren't sure exactly how we were going to use him, and then he went on that journey. Andy Serkis, of course, is someone who Matt and I worked with on the Apes movies. He clearly was going to be a great Alfred. I can go down the list, but we just got very lucky with all our actors.
And speaking of the Apes movies, I was wondering if there's anything that you guys kind of took from the process of building out that huge world.
Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks. One of the things we realized was the motion capture technology that we used on the Apes movies, we took out into exterior sets. We didn't just shoot it in the motion capture volume. We realized that we could find a transition into building concrete sets, real tactile things you could touch against a visual effects world, so that there was a seamless transition to make this movie and experience feel real. So our jobs are to make this thing feel like this Gotham City actually exists somewhere on the east coast of the United States, and hopefully we succeeded.